When you're all driving carpool and banging your Pilates instructors to fill the empty voids in your life, we'll see who gets the last laugh.
What's going on, my peeps? Thank you for tuning in to my very first movie review here on YouTube. I'm really excited to be here and to give you a breakdown of the new movie Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice is a horror comedy sequel to the original Beetlejuice movie that came out in 1988. This movie stars William Dafoe as Wolf Jackson, Jenna Ortega as Astrid Dietz, Monica Bellucci as Dolores, and Justin Theroux as Roxy, with Catherine O'Hara and Winona Ryder returning as Delia and Lydia Dietz. Michael Keaton reprises his role as the tutelar character Beetlejuice. The movie centers around Lydia Dietz, 36 years after the events of the first movie, who is now a talk show host focusing on the supernatural.
Learn to throw your voice, fool your friends, fun and party.
Not bad.
That's about as much information as I can give without getting into spoiler territory. Delia is still dramatic, and Lydia is getting a taste of her own childhood medicine through her daughter in the movie. Roy is an oddball with an off-putting demeanor, but you'll find out why by the end of the movie.
Oh, Delia.
I'm good.
The character of Dolores was interesting, but I felt there was a lack of character development, a missed opportunity to make her more than what she was throughout the film. And Beetlejuice is still Beetlejuice. All in all, I would say that as a collective, the characters were charismatic and the performances from the actors were cohesive throughout the film. Tim Burton returned as the director. I'm very happy he did because no one can make a Tim Burton film like Tim Burton. He has a very distinctive style that I can only see him pulling off. The crass nature of his filmmaking might make it seem
And try to do it in the same spirit that we did the first one. Shoot it quickly, shoot it,
as if he isn't a good director, but he's a master when it comes to off-brand filmmaking. The cinematography was artfully composed. Every scene matched the energy of its environment well. What made this movie visually great were the practical effects used throughout the film. CGI is present, but not as heavy relied upon as the practical effects, which I appreciated. CGI can often get out of hand these days, so I'm glad Burton stayed true to what made the original film great by ensuring a strong practical effects team was in place. A job well done. The music fit well with the movie. You'll get a nostalgia kick pretty early on when some familiar tunes are played. While the singing and dancing sequences weren't as iconic as those in the first movie,
Come, Mr. Tallyman, tally me banana.
they were still good for a few laughs. The audio of the movie itself was crisp and clean and nothing standing out as abnormal, which is always a good thing. The writing of the film was witty with a clear intention to make the audience laugh. Every time Delia opened her mouth, it was hilarious.
Is that
Beetlejuice.
Catherine O'Hara stole every scene she was in my opinion. Watching her alone was worth it. The editing had seamless transitions from one scene to another, especially in the scenes involving humans and the undead. Those sequences were well balanced. I was glad there was no choppy cutscenes. The pacing was consistent, though I felt some scenes were dragged on longer than necessary. While I enjoyed the film, I found it hard to keep up with its central message. The dialogue was well written, but there was too many subplots, some of which felt unnecessary. For me, it felt like the plot was spread too thin across multiple storylines.
Get it upstairs. Bob, hold down the fort.
Making it hard to grasp a coherent conclusion about the movie's ultimate message. I also didn't like how the film borrowed a plot point from the original movie. The writers could have been more creative in handling that aspect of the story. I laughed. To me, that's the most important thing about this film. Will you laugh? Absolutely. Michael Keaton's portrayal of Beetlejuice is on par with how he handled the character back in 1988. I was happy we got to see more of his backstory and how he came to be. I'm also happy that Keaton got a chance to revisit the character that made him the icon he is today. The movie is more than watchable. I feel I would recommend this to anyone who enjoyed the first one. However, if you're new to the Beetlejuice franchise or Tim Burton's films in general, just be aware that the film contains a lot of crass humor. The film itself is very campy. This type of film is very niche specific, and you need to be in a particular brand of humor. I appreciate that Burton and company didn't rely on nostalgia and legacy fans to make this movie happen. Fans have been screaming for a sequel for a while now.
The ghost with the most has returned.
Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice is coming to theaters.
Burton delivered when he felt the time was right, which we should be grateful. Beetlejuice was released this weekend alongside Afraid and The Front Room. Even though it was stacked this weekend for releases, I'm confident that Beetlejuice will win the box office for its opening weekend. Congratulations in advance. For the plot, I give it a 7 out of 10. For characters and performances, I give it an 8 out of 10. For direction, a 7.5 out of 10. For cinematography and visuals, I give it an 8 out of 10. For sound and music, I give it a 7 out of 10. For writing and dialogue, an 8 out of 10. For pacing and editing, I give it a 9 out of 10. For themes and messages, a 7 out of 10. For emotional impact, a 9 out of 10. And for enjoyment, I give it an 8 out of 10. In conclusion, I give the film a 7.85 out of 10. This concludes my very first film review here on YouTube. Please feel free to leave your comments down below. Did my review change your mind about wanting to see the movie? Do you agree with my review and overall rating? Do you disagree with my review and overall rating? All opinions are welcome over here. I'll be glad to read them and be glad you came. Till next time, peace.
The living